What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon Tynes.
What's up? What's up?
And LeVon Maynard.
Hey, welcome to the show.
What is going on? So, thank you for tuning in. So, Monday, we talked about some iOS issues out there. So definitely tune in for that episode. Monday and Tuesday are our topics. Wednesday is our discussion, and then Fridays we talk about everything else. So non-cyber related stuff. But without further ado, I'll give it to Shannon.
All right, everybody. This article is from threatpost.com, and it's actually written by Nate Nelson. And the title of it is "Student Loan Breach Exposes 2.5 Million Records." Right. So pretty much the gist of this one is 2.5 million people were affected in a breach that right now is probably not gonna have any issues with them, but if you pay attention to what's going on in the news, the fact that it was for student loans, like this could be very timely and something that could affect people down the line with everything that's going on, right? So like if you see, not to get too much into the politics of anything, but if you see like the student loan forgiveness that's going on, that's been approved out there, this is where this could really start to affect some people, right? So Ed Financial and the Oklahoma Student Loan Authority, the OSLA, are notifying over 2.5 million loanees that their personal data was exposed in a data breach, right? The target of the breach was Nelnet Servicing, but they actually let everybody know in a disclosure letter, but it, like I said, it was 2.5 million people, and this actually happened July 21st, I think is what they said in the article, July 21st. Yeah, it was when it actually happened, but they didn't notify people until it was already in August, right? So it was discovered on August 17th that they had been exposed on July 21st. But it's one of those things where like I said, with the people that are targeted, this has the ability to be some type of phishing or something like that down the line for these people, right? So we talk about it all the time, right? And I'm not going to say it's just old people, right? Because that's usually what we say is the elderly usually fall for the phishing scams and stuff like that. Like some of these people are going to get excited, right? So you have the current administration that says they canceled $10,000 of student loans, right? For people that are at certain income marks. So they could get an email down the line that says, hey, we're not just going to cancel 10,000, we'll cancel the other 40, 50, 60, if you just pay us $600, right? Because they have their information, they have their email, they have things like that, right? So it's just something to be on the lookout for that can happen. And this is just the way of the world now, right? So like we see this stuff every week when we come on here and we talk to you guys, right? Guys and gals, this is the stuff we're talking about, right? Some type of breach of some type that can have far-reaching effects more so than what it does right now. And we're right there now. So now what is always obligatory with this type of stuff, right? So what do you always get? Some free credit monitoring, right? So that's that's one of the things that can happen, right? And getting credit reports and the $1 million in identity theft insurance. But it's just one of those things where it's like people got to be on the lookout for this, so people don't fall for this trap when you get this email, right? Because you're especially if you get one of these letters, right? Especially if you're one of the 2.5 million people that got one of these letters, to where all of a sudden someone says they're going to clear all your debt for like $600, right? So as we have all heard, right? If it's too good to be true, it usually is, right? So don't fall for these types of things. But LeVon, what's your thoughts on this, man?
I think you made a great point with the whole loan forgiveness that's going on right now, and the fact that people may use that to like you said, to like
target
people, yeah, and you try to send them emails. Click here to have the entire loan be forgiven, and then they click the link, and I don't enter in some banking account information, like, yeah, we'll deposit the money right into your banking account, and then all of a sudden it does the exact opposite and takes money out of the banking account. So that's something that definitely people have to be concerned about. Like you mentioned, they did do the whole thing with the free credit monitoring. Looks like the credit report up to 2 years, up to $1 million in identity theft insurance. So I guess that's kind of the typical go-to, like fix action. Sometimes I wonder though, like what happens if it's like after the 2 years or something, or like after the free plan runs out? Like who knows how long it takes before.
But you bring up a good point, right? Because every time there's a breach like this, that's what they offer, right? So I mean, not to give any ideas, but if these people get smart, they'll just be like, oh, I'm gonna wait, 15 months instead of a year or whatever, right? And then
Right.
not covered. But like here's what's crazy about that, right? Like it's happening so often now. I think we're gonna have credit monitoring for the rest of our life, right? At this point,
Right. So it's going to start stacking.
yeah,
Super secure.
yeah, yeah.
That's for sure. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's but yeah, it's like it's you know, it's one of those things that it's, I don't know. I want to say like these people might be more vulnerable than some others as far as like, I don't know, just being students going to going to school. They have a loan that they acquired and now they're trying to pay it back. Maybe they're still in school trying to pay it back, or maybe they're still paying on the loan. Maybe they're still in class trying to take out more loans on top of these loans, and then so these people are probably going to be like, not have excess cash laying around that they can, splurge on stuff. Especially somebody like, fishes them for more money or puts them in like some sort of debt or some sort of like bad credit report when they're trying to get out of college and get a nice job and get a nice house or whatever. And they're going to be like stuck with poor credit because somebody hacked into their system or whatever. So yeah, it's very, very concerning. It's very kind of sad to hear that this kind of thing happened. And hopefully this, I guess the company did do some things to try to secure their infrastructure. It says they took immediate action to secure the information system, block this suspicious activity, fix the issue, and launched an investigation with third-party forensic experts to determine the nature and scope of the activity. So I guess they're doing a due diligence to try to counteract this breach, and hopefully it doesn't happen again in the future. But I'll turn it over to you, Ryan. What you think about this one?
Yeah, I'm in agreement, and the timing is perfect, right? Like this is a bad actor who knows the current climate and then wants to be able to use this in the near future. Like, oh, okay, you're going to start forgiving loans. People are going to really be enticed by this. I need to get this type of data. So they did the reconnaissance. They got what they needed for 2.5 million. I almost said billion. 2.5 million people. And now they're definitely going to use it, right? Like you don't put this type of work in to not use this data to your advantage. So they're already over there crafting the perfect email to send you, or voice message, or it could be a smishing attempt, like send you a text or whatever. Like they're already figuring it out, or selling data to somebody else, right? So they're definitely pretty crafty. And then when it comes to the overlapping credit reporting protections and things of that nature, I don't think in this case it'll actually protect you, or in many cases, right? Like it's probably tied to something very specific. So if your identity is stolen, even if it had something to do with this, how do you prove that? How do you say, oh, they got my data in this way, so I need you to insure me up to $1 million so I can buy a home or a boat or a car or something like that? Data is just data out there, right? So just because they have their social security number doesn't mean they got it from this breach. They could have got it from a different breach. So I'm not paying you. So that coverage just never really settled right with me. That's not good enough, in my opinion, anyway. But I've never had to use it, thankfully. But it's just like most insurances, like insurance companies are betting that you won't use the coverage. So if people come in mass to use the coverage, that they have to get out of it somehow because they can't pay everybody back. They'll go bankrupt. So it's something to think about.
That's a very good point, man. Like you that's a very valid point that I didn't look at it that way. And the example you give right there at the end, like I saw that happen with a hurricane in Florida in 2004. So when Ivan came, like when it came and did what it did, like insurance companies were just folding. They were like, nah, that's not the way we play the shell game, right? Like you got us this time, right? So I'm just gonna go under and not pay anybody anything. So yeah, you bring up a good point.
Yeah, they can't pay everybody back at once. It's just not the way it works. So like if all 2.5 million people were like, hey, I need some money, they were like, like, see y'all later.
Just how the Great Depression started. Everybody made a run on the bank, right? At the same time.
Right. So yeah, so I don't know how it's going to play out, but I do expect to revisit this article in a few months from now, when people will actually have, because I don't know what the process is to pay back these loans, or to get your credit or whatever, your forgiveness. So I'm sure and there's going to be a bunch of emails of some sort or letters, and then this is also going to be part of that mix as well. So it's just going to make things super confusing. So that is the dystopic future we live in. But definitely tune in Monday and Tuesday, our topics, Wednesday's discussion. So definitely tune in for tomorrow's discussion. And then Friday's everything else. So we talk about anything but cyber, unless it's cyberpunk, but anything not non-cybersecurity related. So definitely tune in for that. Hit up all of the websites that go by the podcast name. You gave me up personally. I'm at RyRy Security Guy. That's RYRY Security Guy. LinkedIn, Twitter, Clubhouse, and TikTok. And you, LeVon?
Yes, sir. You can hit me up on the Twitter. It's at LeVon Maynard.
There it is. Stay safe, stay secure.
Take care.